Robert. Hey, it's always great to be on. And we filed House Bill 3218, which some people are referring to as CHL everywhere. And probably the easiest way of explaining it is it allows anybody with a CHL to carry anywhere that a peace officer can carry today.
That's right. That's the way it should be. By the way, CHL holders statistically have committed fewer crimes with the firearm than have peace officers. I'm not indicting peace officers. I'm just saying this fear that people can't be trusted has been disproven over the last decade. And in fact, the statistics are a little better for the citizen with a concealed handgun license than they are for people who have a badge.
And that's correct, Robert. And they're massively better for those who don't have their CHL or a badge. You know, we've seen this before. So the big story was, you know, they tried to play the I got you game, and they said, oh, geez, you mean you want to let CHL holders go into sports stadiums with their gun? And I said, you know, we heard that same argument 18 years ago about road rage and the battles in the streets, and none of those have happened. We have a great history of law-abiding citizens continuing to be law-abiding citizens.
You know, we had a CHL incident that the media tried to play the wrong way, but then the facts came out in Lubbock at a sports event. One of these, you know, where they say, well, you don't want them there at the softball game with their kids and all this stuff, and a guy was legal to carry. And when it first happened, they tried to make the CHL guy who had to defend himself. He didn't kill anybody, but he pulled his weapon, if I remember correctly. Tried to make it look like here it is, how bad it is. Then we found out it was like the husband of a coach or somebody else went after him and assaulted him. You know, and it was exactly why the innocent citizen needs to be protected. And we just haven't seen these horror stories. And what's worse, not only you can say, well, all right, you're at Jones Stadium or for a Texas Tech football game, or you're, you know, at Gerald Ford Stadium at SMU or whatever. All right, you shouldn't be in the stadium. Well, what about that long walk? I mean, you know, that long walk, maybe a mile to the car somewhere, a lot of times at night, you're effectively disarmed because you can't carry your weapon there, assuming you abide by the law.
Well, Robert, and one of the things, you're exactly right. One of the things I always hear when they talk about that is, how are the police going to know who the good guy and the bad guy is? What they forget is CHL does not make you a peace officer. It allows you to defend yourself, and if you're smart, you're going to run away from wherever there's hostilities at, and you're going to work to protect yourself and your family, and that's what it entitles you to do. And you know,
Representative, one of the most ridiculous things in the world is that there are still campus, university, and college police chiefs going to testify about campus CHL using that same problem, that same argument that's been used for 25 years nationwide about, well, we wouldn't know who the good guy and the bad guy were in a big shooting situation, and yet across this entire country, you know, hundreds of millions of people, not once has that ever been a problem, even though most of the states shall issue concealed carry now.
That's right. And, you know, the other one that really disproves is take your hospitals. I mean, from Shamrock to Clay County and Henrietta, you know, those hospital workers, the nurses that work in the ER room, they have these strung-out people and drugs come in off the highway. Our rural hospitals do not have police officers or metal detectors to get in. And, you know, these armed thugs are coming in trying to rob them, and these poor employees can't protect themselves, and that's wrong.
Same on campus. We've had this. We have some, you know, some people may not know Lubbock is a very big medical center. It's got one of the largest hospitals in the country, maybe the largest in beds, between just slightly smaller than Baylor and Dallas, all the way between that and Los Angeles. And they've got big parking garages like you find in really big cities. Well, we've had rapes and attacks on nurses and employees in those. It doesn't matter if they have security. It's nighttime. These are big campuses to cover. And it's ridiculous that we disarm these folks who are working these 24-hour shifts, working around the clock, coming out at odd times. And as you put it, they're also dealing with some of the not very good people sometimes. The law as it stands is just the way it works right now is the honest people get punished.
You're exactly right. And, you know, the committee hearing went well. Obviously, you know, the TSRA and the NRA are ecstatic about, you know, this bill. You know, and as the chairman of the committee said, you know, I've got a red meat committee, and they all loved it. everybody but the chairman, and I'm going to work him to try to get it out.
Which is really funny. They keep these things out because they're controversial. The fact is, when you poll Texans, these type bills aren't controversial at all, and they're not controversial within the caucus. I think most of our pro-gun legislation would pass easily in both sides of the Capitol.
I agree with you on that, Robert. And now, that being said, I will say that that same committee did allow my very first CHL bill, which was 698, that dealt with the 25-mile range for fingerprinting. They did allow that to get out. It is in calendars, and we believe that is going to get to the floor for a vote. And so, I'm excited about making that small step and, once again, being able to protect our Second Amendment rights for rural Texans and a commitment to serve rural Texas that I made. But, I definitely would like to see us be able to do everything with the 3218. You pass 3218, you don't even need campus carry anymore. It takes care of it right there.
Right. Yeah, and they'll figure that out, and, boy, they'll pull all stops out. Representative Drew Springer, House District 68, I want to thank you for your leadership in this and sticking up for what you told us, what you told me you believed, and carrying that forward down to Austin. And thanks for the good work, and let us know whenever we need to get people to work calling their state reps on these issues. So appreciate it very much, and you have a great weekend, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it. And also, I heard you say, and I stopped by West Texas on my way back home today and visited with some of the workers there. And I'm a volunteer fireman here, and I know we lost at least 5 volunteer firemen down there. And so please keep your thoughts and prayers with those families and in that tragic situation.